Let me start the session with a small introduction about Mr. Lean Doraisamy, who is a good friend of mine and an expert in that subject of lean practice methodologies. So, Mr. Doraisamy is a specialist in world-class manufacturing concepts like Lean Six Sigma, TPS. TPS is Toyota's production systems, TPM, Total Productive Maintenance, TQM, total quality maintenance, QCC, quality control circles, 5G, 5S, and Kaizen. So all these terminologies, I'm sure we have all seen it written in the companies. So whenever we get into the industrial area, so we see that this company follows TQM or QCC or Kaizen and all these different terminologies with which we just know, but we're not very familiar with what these things actually means. And so he has also got 6 years of work with Autoliv India as director of manufacturing. So his experience has been in the manufacturing sector. So why did I get somebody from the manufacturing sector to speak to eye doctors? So basically the concepts are similar, just like Dr. Venkatesamy, who founded the Arvind Eye Hospital, said he got the inspiration from the McDonald's. So basically how the assembly line creation of McDonald's burger led to the surgeries happening in the Arvind Eye Hospital. So there are lots of things which we could actually take from the industry and apply in our practices. So that was the reason I thought we should bring somebody from the industry to speak to us on the lean practice methodologies. Maybe if you can all mute yourself. Yeah. So, and he also has got 15 years of work with TVS company, and he's a specialist in lean methodologies, operational excellence, productivity improvement, quality improvement, manufacturing cost reduction, employee involvement activities, and supply chain management. He has written a lot of articles, and his company is called Shrishti Consultants, which is into the consulting for industries, and now he is also will be happy to consult for hospitals on implementing these lean practice methodologies. Over to you, Doraisamy sir, and you can start sharing your screen, and we can have your presentation, and then we can get into the questions.
Good evening, doctors and the hospital owners and the professionals supporting ophthalmology practices. Now, I wish Mr. Ananthakrishnan, because he is also my mentor and guide, and it's very difficult to talk in front of the gurus. But still I continue. And I am Lean Doraisamy. I am specialized on implementing lean practices, not a theoretician or a professor. I'm a practitioner of lean. If you just Google Lean Doraisamy, you will come to know more of my activities. Basically, the lean, what is lean and what are all the myths about lean and the fundamentals of lean and some prominent tools and techniques of lean. That I will have a small introduction because you are all not from manufacturing industry. So I will just introduce the lean part. And then the main objective is whatever the lean, but how this will be useful for our ophthalmology practices and how we can use it for our clinic and hospitals, how we can benefit. That is the core of this presentation that will come on the second part. And then we have way forward at the end. Now, let us see the myths about lean. There are some general myths. One of the myths is lean is suitable only for automobile industry. But the truth is lean is suitable for all kinds of manufacturing, service, as well as the hospitality industry. This is the truth. Another myth is lean can work in some less critical industries. But eye care is most critical industry because it is eye. It deals with the eye and it is very sensitive. This is a myth about lean practice. But the truth is doctors working on patient's eye is most critical. Agree to that. But all other administrative processes are same as other industry. Those are all not as critical as doing a cataract operation on the eye. So this can be applied in all the business processes except when the doctor touches the eye of the patient. Another myth is This can only big hospitals can go for lean. Actually, even small clinics, even one-man operation clinics also can implement these best practices and benefit from lean operations. Another myth is lean requires specialized, skilled human resources. If I have to implement lean practice, I may have to have somebody specialized, somebody with so and so qualification. That's actually a myth. The lean de-skills almost complex, all complex processes. And it splits person skill and the process separately and makes anybody can operate any process. And that way we build multi-skilled operators. And those are very important at the time like this kind of pandemics, where you have less patients inflow and you can't hold everybody on roll. So you need to shuffle between one process to another process. All that is possible if we go in for lean. Now, the basic fundamental knowledge about lean, the person who is lean and a person who is unaware of lean, there is only a simple difference. A common person sees any work, any activity as a work. Let it be anything, like eating is a work, drinking is a work, walking is a work, talking is a work. So any activity, a normal person see it as a work, start to end. He thinks that work takes some X amount of time. The difference, what we are trying to learn today in this session, if at all I am going to add some value to you, making you to think on these lines. So if you can start thinking on these lines from now on, including my presentation, so then you are actually understood lean and you can easily implement lean. Now the lean practitioner sees the same work, what others are seeing it as a work. The lean practitioner sees this into three areas of work. One is value adding work. In the graph, in the pie chart, the green portion is value adding portion of the total work. If you can see the total pie chart, roughly you can see this green portion among the whole pie, it's very, very meager. It may be even 10% of that. And that is what is happening in all our activities. The value adding activity is less than 10% of the total activity time. So here we are seeing as a lean practitioner, what others see as a work, what we were seeing it as a work so far. From now onwards, we are seeing value adding work and waste work and incidental work. Three categories of work. So this value adding work is an activity that transforms or shapes material or information. In your case, suppose if it is in surgery, cataract surgery, the value addition before surgery, there was a cataract in the eye of the patient. After surgery, that shape has changed. Something is removed. Okay, so this is the process. This is the value adding process. Actually, this is what the patient wanted from the doctor. All others are either incidental or waste activities. So here, the value added activity is actually changing the shape of the process, product before and after. And the value adding activity is what the customer wants it. For that activity only, the customer comes into your clinic. So here, because he wanted it and you are doing that, you charge any amount of money, he will be willing to pay for that. So an activity for which a customer is willing to pay is value adding activity. Now, there are activities where the customer is not willing to pay. Now, customer is not willing to pay, but sometimes he pays because of our compulsion. He will not be happy. He will start looking at the other options instead of coming to your clinic, whether he can go to some other clinic. So here, the second category of work is pure waste. This is any activity customer is not willing to pay for. This is waste activity. In this case, the customer feels that it's a wasteful activity. For example, waiting. He has come and he is just waiting for somebody to attend. So this is a wasteful activity. But you also know that this is a wasteful activity, because when he was waiting, nothing happened. So it's his precious time he has lost. So here on the pure waste activity, the customer is feeling that it's a wasteful activity. And we also agree that it's a, yes, it's a wasteful activity. It should not have been happened, but due to something it is happening. So some justification may be there, but we agree that it's a wasteful activity. This is about waste. Now, there are something called incidental works. Actually, because of that work, there is no value addition, but probably that work will be supporting for the value addition. For example, if it is a surgery, just like that, somebody walks into your clinic and you cannot just operate him. There are some preparatory things you need to do. The patient has to be prepared and he has to be made with some drops and waiting for some time. These are all actually incidental work. This helps for the main value adding work, but most of the time it is also having inefficiencies. So probably today we have to do this work, but at least we should have an action plan that maybe in the future, when I design my next hospital, when I make my next venture, or when the new technology comes, when I go for a new building. So something like that in the long run, we need to reduce these activities. The incidental work should get reduced. Now, only 3 works. Now, I think you all understood what is lean. It is very simple concept. Work is split into 3 categories. One is value adding work, and incidental work, and waste work. The value adding work is customer pays, he enjoys. So what should we do if it is going to make the customer enjoy? If it is going to make the customer pay, then we can enhance it. So how can you increase your revenue of your clinic? You can add value added services to the patients who are coming there. Additional services which they will like. So this way, your top line, your sales can go up by enhancing the value adding work. Now, coming to non-value adding work, the customer is paying and suffering, and there you lose your profit. Now, most of you, either you wanted to increase your turnover, or you want to increase your profit, or you want to increase turnover also as well as profit. Now here, this lean concept, this is the only concept which helps you to increase turnover as well as increase profit. There are many accounting practices which tells you about how to increase profit. And there are a lot of marketing concepts tells you about how to increase turnover. Only lean tells us, guides us, gives us areas to work so that you can increase your turnover as well as reduce your cost, reduce your loss, and make more profit. Now, having understood this area is a pure waste, what to do with this pure waste, non-value adding activity, the concept called ECRS. If some of you are able to take some key notes, probably you can take key notes. The first one, what I said was work is equal to value added work and incidental work and waste work. That is the first formula. The second formula is, suppose if it is a waste work, how do I get rid of this? How do I make it out of my system? There are some guidelines which are ECRS. It's an acronym. First, we need to try for eliminating that work. It is not adding any value to the customer. So we should start eliminating that work first. If suppose that work cannot be eliminated, it has to be there, or at least now I cannot eliminate. Okay, after that technology comes, or after I have an automatic machine, after I have a software, after I have some technology, artificial intelligence, or some scanners, then I can eliminate. So you can make some action plan for the future date, but all your intention should be to eliminate waste. If suppose you fail on this right now, probably you can compromise, or you can look for some options to combine that work with another work. There may be some another work happening. Along with that, you can combine so that the net loss will be less. Or you can rearrange the sequence of your activities. Somebody going for a medical health check. Okay. So some rearranging of activities, like he goes and he gives a blood sample, he gives a urine sample, he goes to X-ray, then he goes to ECG, he goes to something. But rearranging those things can make the process easier and simpler. This is where I say rearrange or resequence. And S stands for simplification of that work. Simplification is I have high regards, Mr. Anand Padmanabhan. He has done wonderful things. He has made MGM processes like any other foreign hospital processes. Like you enter into a room, automatically the sensor catches you and it updates your history. When you entered which room, when you came out of which room, how much time you are waiting, and all that is given outside as a analytical tool, which tells you that how much was your value added time, how much was your waiting time, and how which counter was there was a big queue. All that is coming out. So you can automate certain things because you can't get rid of it now, but at least you can reduce the impact of loss in this. So these are all the big learnings actually on lean manufacturing, lean processes. Now these wasteful activities, sir, which is waste? How do I identify waste? You are telling customer doesn't want to pay. In that case, customer doesn't want to pay for anything. So which one is waste? How do I identify? So there are 8 types of waste normally categorized. Okay, somewhere you can see it as 7 types, somewhere 9 types. Don't worry about it. But generally 8 types of waste are there. Those waste are waste because of defects, errors. Okay, filing one report on another patient's file, or taking a printout of A instead of B, or wrongly calling a patient with a half name and you test another patient instead of A, you check B. So these are all coming under wrong processes, errors, defects. So the first one is defects. The second one is overproduction. Overproduction in manufacturing context, it is producing more than what is needed. So here you need to use certain kind of, so many number of syringes or so many number of lenses, but you keep for a larger lot. Okay. Today you need only 10, but you buy 1,000 and you keep it on the table, all the 1,000 numbers. So these are all kind of overproduction. And the W stands for waiting time. Time is one thing. Time is actually money. So anybody loses time, anybody, they lose money, opportunity of earning. So the waiting is the third one. And the N stands for non-utilized talents, underutilization of people talent. This is the management loss. The management, suppose you call Virat Kohli and ask him to play football and you say he's a non-performer. So obviously he will be a non-performer. And you call Virat Kohli and then you put him on the boundary line and ask him to throw the balls when it comes out of it. So that is also a gross underutilization. So in these cases, people will lose interest on the job, attrition will be more, and they will be start looking at better opportunities. So it is very, very important. Even you can forget the non-performers. You have to ensure that the performers or the brides, the horses has to be loaded. Otherwise, if it is less loaded, they will find that that place is not suitable for them. So here we may have many areas, non-utilized talents or underutilization of manpower. And there another waste is transportation, unnecessary movements of products and materials. And in this case, moving some samples from first floor to ground floor and then taking to the second floor. All that, and especially in eye care practices, you have so many counters. Room number 7, room number 6, you go to first lens checking, you go for then retinopathy checking. So all these areas movement is very high. Then the inventory, excess products and materials not being processed, inventory of people, inventory of documents, inventory of consumables, all that is a waste. And motion is unnecessary movements by the people, like between the departments or between the sections, people keep walking. Actually, we pay for people to work. We interview, we scrutinize, we take some people as a specialist on, the power checking. But you can see the specialist who is doing the power check, eye power check, how much powers he has checked for the day. Suppose 40 patients per patient, how much time it will take? Okay, it may take 5 minutes. 5 minutes into 40 patients, 200 patients, 200 minutes. 200 minutes is actually the work. What happens? Suppose if they are working for 6 hours, it is 480 minutes. So out of 480 minutes, 200 minutes only we have used the skill of that specialist, that technician. Remaining 280 minutes are waste. So it actually they were working hard. They were moving between doctor's room. They were moving between stores. They were moving between the billing counter, and they were moving between receptionist. So they were moving, paying for walking. Actually, doctor was introducing walking is good for health, but inside the hospital and the clinic, we are actually making people to walk. That is good for their health, but bad for our business, because we are paying them to walk. And inside the hospital, if they walk, they create more nuisances. So the avoiding unnecessary movement between point A to point B, this is also a waste. The other one is the extra processing. Extra processing is certain works can be done in a simplified way. Just a one-side paper can do. Instead of one-side paper, you use a bonded paper. This is extra processing, bond sheet. And instead of sending one signal, you send one big file. So these are all extra processings. So in short, if I have to call: defects, overproduction, waiting, non-utilized talents, transportation, inventory, motion, extra processing. Now, all of you listening to me, please go and observe, is there any error happens? Is there any defect happens in your process, in your whole hospital? Sir, entry I have made wrongly, sir. I have given wrong patient number, sir. I have given this file to that man, sir. Actually, everything I did fine, sir. Reports and all fine. But I have wrongly filed that report on another person, sir. So these are all the defects which happens. Now the acronym what I have formed is downtime. The D for defect, O for overproduction, W for waiting time, and N for non-utilized talents, T for transportation, I for inventory, M for motion, E for extra processing. Now, actually, a common man and a lean specialist, lean practitioner. A common man will see work as a work, even if he has learned to see waste as a waste. Now, the lean practitioner will see within that waste, which of these 8 waste is contributing for that. So that is actually called lean eye. Now the assignment to all of you is your eye, you are making your eye healthy. Okay, any problems on the eye, you are immediately doing some precaution and making it all right. But actually you have to fine tune your eyes to see the waste. You are able to see small letters, you are able to see colors correctly, you are able to see images correctly, but you are not able to see waste happening in your hospital. That means first you have to undergo eye treatment, because your eye is not able to see serious disorders. A professional's eye, which could not see the waste in the organization, is a serious disorder than cataract or vision loss or refraction or cornea or orbit, everything. This is what I would like to say here. You are so specialized, so much you know about eye, so much importance you attach to eye, but your eyes are not seeing a gross waste happening in your organization. So we need to develop that eye. Now here, now having developed those eyes and having identified, sir, I have inventory waste. Okay, what to do? I have motion waste. I know, like now I understand people moving between one section to another section, or files moving between one section to another section. Patients unnecessarily moving between 3rd floor to ground floor, again 1st floor, again then room number 9, from there to 7, 7 to 6, and in between waiting. So all that now we have understood. Now, how I have a headache. Okay, I have done all the screening. I have taken MRI, ECG. Okay, now there is a problem on my head. I'm getting a headache in the evenings. So what should I do? So you need to undergo treatment. Now the lean is a package. It's a philosophy. It's a methodology. It's a way of doing things. It is not like one simple process. So this has got a kind of toolkits. There are many tools are there in lean practices. Like for example, VSM, that is value stream mapping, is one of the tool which helps us to map the whole process to identify where are all these downtime happening. Whenever I use downtime, I'm meaning that 8 waste, like defects and over processing, all that. Now, value stream mapping is one tool all of you can use from tomorrow morning. Very, very simple and powerful, and the first tool to make your productivity at least 3 times from current level. Sir, I am making 1 crore turnover. Now, with the same infrastructure, with the same resources of manpower, machine, material, method, you should be leveraging it for at least 3x. Just by doing the VSM, identifying the 8 waste of downtime, and using this ECRS of elimination, combining, rearranging, and simplification. So this tool is called value stream mapping. I will explain to you on the next slide. There is another tool called spaghetti diagram. It's a diagram which traces people movement between one section to another section. Actually, in manufacturing, this is used for tracing a product from one machine or one shop to another shop or another machine. But in our context, this is used to trace the patient movement, where he has entered and where are all he has moved, and from where he is exiting, and what is the total distance he has moved. You will be surprised. Like within your hospital, within your clinic, the patient may move at least walk for half kilometer minimum if it's a small clinic. If it is a hospital, probably he may be even walking for more than a kilometer. These are all revelations by doing the VSM, we can understand. And spaghetti diagram. The third tool is 5 yes, 5 Japanese words starting with yes. So in short, the acronym we use 5 A's. This keeps the workplace easier, efficient, visible. And there is another tool, single minute exchange of dice. This was developed in the presses and the machines to reduce the changeover time between A to B. And another tool is line balancing. Another tool is Heijunka, that is leveling of the processes. Next one is the Kaizen process, Andon, Kanban. Kanban is a signal. So I am talking as if I am a Japanese. I am talking something Seiri, Seitan, Seiso, Seiketsu, Shichuke, and Heijunka, Kaizen, Andon, Kanban. Don't bog down by all these terminologies. It's all simple common sense, already practiced by our mother, sister, wife in the kitchen. So if you have to learn lean processes, better do some work in the kitchen, helping your wife and mother. You will understand better what I am going to explain. All these are used in the kitchen, and it's all used in our practices also. Japanese have done it very meticulously, named it and sold it to us. And let us see quickly about certain tools. Now, this gentleman, all of you know, he actually, like how Henry Ford in 1906, he introduced assembly lines. He made cars to move on assembly lines and started assembling. Prior to that, it was the, craft production. Like constructing a building or something, the car was kept in one place. People bring material to that station and assemble that car. And the productivity levels were low, and there were highly specialized persons are required to do that job. Now, Henry Ford felt, why don't we keep the chassis in the conveyor and move it? And each people will split the work, and a body will move. That's a car will move. People will assemble their respective products. That's how he made the conveyorized assembly about 117 years back. That is Henry Ford. Now, Henry Ford in the eye care hospital, eye care is none other than Dr. Govindappa Venkataswamy. He brought the assembly line techniques. He introduced the lean concepts. He's a pioneer according to my knowledge. Probably somebody else may be there, but according to my knowledge, being in Tamil Nadu, he's a pioneer. Now, Dr. Venkateswamy doesn't need any introduction for all of you. So I move forward. He is a man equivalent to Henry Ford. Henry Ford for automobile car manufacturing. Dr. Govindappa Venkateswamy is for eye care, mass production. 1,000 cataract surgeries per doctor, something like that. And here, what is that the benefits where I can see lean benefits? Suppose I use Doraisami's words, I go and do something. Which are all the areas which will benefit? Now, this will immediately benefit the turnaround time, that's the lead time or throughput time of the patient. You know, patient, actually they are patient, but they don't have patience. So such patient, when they visit your clinic, they have so many other problems. They have so many other engagements. They are least bothered about your internal issues. You have only one technician in power checking area. You have same person doing the job of refraction also. That's all your headache. So they actually wanted to enter, get their job done, maybe in 5 minutes time and go back. Everybody is busy and the busyness increases. We had a very leisure restaurants, and then it came to fast foods, and now we are at taking parcels in fast food, and sometimes we have Zomato and other things. Even that much time we cannot wait. That's how the world goes. Now the patients from entering your gate till they leave the gate, how much time they spend? So here, suppose they spend 1 hour each patient. And in that condition, you treat say 100 patients a day. Now that 1 hour, if you can make it a half an hour, with the same resources, you can treat 200 patients. Your business goes up. If suppose you need to invest something, okay, probably you need to duplicate one more machine. It's worth doing it because your business is doubled or sometimes tripled. So here, where can I see the lean benefits? By eliminating the waiting time, then the patient throughput time is increasing. Patient throughput time reduces and your number of patients treated will increase. And the second one is the patient satisfaction index. Suppose you have the patient experience. Like I went, they did all the work and I hardly spent a half an hour to get my cataract done in that hospital. So something like that, it's very important source of improvement, not seen in many hospitals. So patient satisfaction index. In most of the other industries, we have the customer satisfaction survey, customer satisfaction index. But I had visited many, even large hospitals. This particular metric I didn't see very explicitly. And the third one is yield per patient. Now, your yield revenue, what revenue you make per day or per week or per month, divided by the number of patients you treated. In that case, if you see the yield per patient will go up. And of course, your profitability will increase. EBITDA is earnings before interest, tax, and amortization. And this will help, implementation of lean practices will help to get easily through your NABH and other accreditation audits and certifications. You don't need to prepare anything for audit. If you gradually implement lean practices, in the lean tools are there, you are going to do value stream mapping, you are going to identify waste, and you are going to do elimination, combining, rearranging, simplification. Compared to last month, this month, many processes have improved. Then slowly you introduced some mistake proofing. Slowly you introduce some organizing. So any auditor will be happy to give you a better scoring rather than just before the audit, doing something and then getting the audit passed. And even to get certain TPA approvals or insurance company approvals for your clinic, this will be helpful. Suppose you say, sir, we are practicing lean practices and we have made so many improvements through lean. This is how we continuously improve our processes. Any auditor, any insurance agency, any TPAs or any NABH auditor will be happy to certify your institution. Now, the lean focusing on 2 areas. The main areas I said, the patient satisfaction. That's a better experience. that is coming from quick turnaround. And the velocity is a speed of customer treatment. Like earlier, they were spending 1 hour inside your clinic, entry to exit. Now, average, if you see all the patients, they are just spending half an hour. That is a velocity increase. And you are going to do value added work more. Actually, in the whole percentage of 100% of work, only 10% we saw approximately as value added. Remaining was non-value added. Now, as you keep reducing non-value added, automatically the value added percentage goes up. And we are also consciously trying to add value to customer. What else we can add value to them? And this also brings visibility, because a lot of complex things are getting away, the knots are removed. So this gives visibility in the system. So you can see 3 V's: velocity, value add, and visibility. And the quality of service will obviously increase because of high quality, high velocity, faster turnaround, better value addition, simplified systems. The cost will go down. Going down of cost is indirectly proportional, and that will increase your profitability. So the hospital's benefits are turnover increase as well as the profitability increase. We say in top line improvement and bottom line improvement, both are possible in this process. Now, lean in eye care. Now we have seen different tools. So I will show you some example, something or conceptual example, something or what I have actually done and it is yielding result. But for you to expose certain things, I have taken some pictures outside and added here. The application of tools, we are coming to the important part now. The first tool, what I explained to you, was VSM. VSM is acronym, short form for value stream mapping. So the name itself is self-explanatory. Since it's a mapping, we are going to see a map. Okay, it's going to show certain things, certain paths, like your Google Maps. From point A, you wanted to reach point B, it shows a map, and it also gives you direction. If you take this route, shortest route, the distance will be less, but traffic is more. If you take the long route, distance is more, traffic is less. The estimated time of delivery. So this is nothing but Google Map, but has got some additional informations. Now the value stream means the processes, the activities happening from the customer entering our clinic to leaving the clinic. From the patient, when they enter our clinic or hospital as a patient, but when they leave, they go as a healthy person, for example. Okay, their problems are solved in the hospital. So that's how it is. If it is a bank, you enter a bank to take a demand draft, you come out of that demand draft. If it is manufacturing industry, the raw material enters the gate of the company, goes into different products, processes, and comes out of the company as a finished product. So in our case, what you should be doing here, I have taken some hypothetical steps. Like you can see the first step, arriving at hospital, the patient is entering. Here our clock starts. He has entered our hospital. So what is happening? He goes to the reception, and then there is a registration process. And there is a form given. Sir, take that form and fill up all the details and come back. Okay. So sometimes the forms are not there. Sometimes pen is not there. Sometimes they were not telling it clearly. Sometimes they are filling the wrong forms. Somebody who came for IP is going to OP, OP coming to IP. So these are all the delays, errors happening here. So in this process of registration, for example, filling the form may take 3 minutes in the normal case. But suppose you enter the clinic at 10 o'clock, 10 sharp, okay, when they enter the gate, removing their chappals at 10 a.m. Do you think by 10:03 they would have filled the form? I'm sure in between there could have been at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes delay, or even an hour. We don't know. Now the value adding time, here only the shape changes. Before filling, the form was blank form. Now it is a filled form. So there is a change in the shape of the product. There is a change, improvement in the level of the patient requirements. Earlier, we did not know anything about the patient detail. Now we have all the detail about the patient detail. This is the value addition. That filling the form from opening the pen, writing Mr., Mrs., from there to signature, everything. It's actually a 3 minutes job. Some hospitals, this takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So the remaining time of 10 minutes I am taking approximately for a case study purpose. So out of 13 minutes, what is spent by the patient up to this, the top side, I have broken the line up, down, up, down, up, down, like the downs are just to indicate to you the portion of value adding time, that process time. The up one are the waiting times. So here 10 minutes waiting, 3 minutes value addition. Then it goes to registration at the front desk. Now the form filling, then again going back to the desk for the computer registration. I'm taking as an example, a 13 minutes job, 10 minutes waiting, and 3 minutes is actually they have to enter into the computer and take some printout with the serial number of the patient. Probably somewhere they put some hand tag. So all that is done in 3 minutes. The computer does it in 3 minutes, but the patient spends 13 minutes. Then these asked to pay certain, registration and consulting fee at the pay counter, another counter. And there the patient has to walk and pay and come back. And comes to the preliminary investigation, that is about the 10 minutes process. It is taking 20 minutes waiting. Then it goes for a refraction, that is about 10 minutes process, 20 minutes waiting. Then doctor consulting is 10 minutes process. And to consult the doctor, because there will be a queue, there will be some people waiting. So the waiting time is 30 minutes. So up to this, if you add the bottom one, okay, the broken line, bottom side, 3 minute, 3 minute, 3 minute, 10 minute, 10 minute, 10 minutes. So 39 minutes of value added work has taken place. Why should it take 39 minutes? That question we will ask later. Okay, here also there is a scope for improvement. Okay. Then on the top side is all waiting times. That is the non-value adding times. The bottom one, as of now, value adding. In the future, we may make improvements, but today these are all value adding. On the top, if you see 10, 10, 10, 20, 20, 30, if you add all that, that is coming to 100 minutes. So in total, 139 minutes the patient has spent up to this, out of which only 39 is the value adding. If you just divide 39 out of 139, it comes to 28%. So 28% of the time only some activity took place. Whether that 28 we can further reduce, that is, there will be a lot of scope. That is by automation, simplification, introducing sensors, all that possible. But now in this case, 39 minutes is 28%. 72% of the time, the patient was simply waiting just because of the inefficiency of the hospital and the doctor, or because of they think their efficiency, because they don't want to keep two people for eye checking. They don't want to place some additional people. They think that that is an additional cost, but patient thinks out of my 100% of the time what I spent, 72% I was made to sit. So he will look for next hospital or next clinic next time. So this is a scope of improvement. This is only a theoretical example, but if you really take tomorrow in your hospital, you will not get to 28% value adding. Don't be surprised. 0.28% value adding, 99.72% of the time customer may be waiting. I will assure you that you may get some surprise numbers like that. So here, and further waiting on pharmacy and opticals, that's very big story. Okay, you can't get the job done quickly there. So those processes, if you add, the overall waiting time will be much higher. So here, just by mapping and seeing how much time you have spent for the process, how much time you have spent in total, very simple arithmetic. There is a numerator and a denominator, and that says that your business 30% is working time, 75% is the waiting time. That means you have potential within these 24 hours of the day, within your clinic working time of say 10 hours or 12 hours, your business can increase at least 3x, 3 times, because you have 74%, 75% wastage time. These 74, you make it usable, then you get 2 more time, that is 3x of turnover within the same hospital with the same doctor. You can get this. So this is the beauty of value stream mapping. Now we need to understand all the time, oh sir, why all these business people they don't know all these things? Is it a big surprise Doraisamy is telling? The difference is every one of us, we see from hospital point of view, from doctor's point of view. Okay, doctor is available only between 10 to 11. In the hospital, we have only in the first floor room. The hospital consulting room is in the second. So everything we see for the benefit, for the availability of the doctor and the hospital facilities. From now onwards, if you really want to be lean and to want to make multiple times of turnover and profit, just put yourself into the customer's shoes and see customer perspective. This is the only difference between common man and a lean man. Common man sees everything from his perspective. Lean man sees from his customer perspective. Now here, what actually the patient wants. You also a patient in some other hospital. Okay, probably you may be an eye doctor, but in cardiology, you may be a patient. So what you will be expecting is, you will expect a very less waiting time because you are so busy. I'm very happy. Doctor was telling that he is in OPD, but he has come all the way just to see and learn here and learn this session. I'm very proud of him. So such a busy doctor, if you make him to wait, then he will get irritated. So the patient wants less waiting time. And what the hospital wants, they want efficient use of staff time. There is one technician, D-Pharm pharmacist, and only one girl is there. He has gone for some other work, taking Xerox. So you keep the patient waiting. Your patients are all not beggars. There are doctors also your patient. So there are even VIPs are your patient. So here, every patient you need to see from their perspective. Now I am entering the gate, your hospital. I want to immediately get the registration form and get it filled, get it done. I want only my work to take place in the entire hospital. Like all of you know, when the VIP comes on the road, the entire road traffic is blocked. And the chief minister is allowed, the minister is allowed first, and then only the common public can go. Like that, everyone wants such a treatment when they come, when they come as a customer. But when you sit as a service provider, you think, sir, I cannot do like that. For this piece, we can do only this much. And eye care means they have to wait, sir. We are already telling them that they may have to wait for 4 hours. See, they are paying you. And you get paid, you eat, your food is from them, your growth is from them, and you make them to wait. And you are telling as if legally, we are already informed that it may take 4 hours, 5 hours per consult. So this is a wrong approach, or this is a so far approach. But from tomorrow, what will be the customer expecting? The patient will be expecting him only to be treated. When he goes to reception, he feels all other people should shut up other works and attend him only. Then he goes to power checking. He expects all other things should be shut down and only he has to be treated. And he goes for refraction, everything should be shut down except his process. And the doctor also to wait to receive him and treat him, send him. In between, doctor also should not attend phone call. This is what the patient expects. So if you change your perspective from patient point of view, then you will be able to understand the patient problem well. And this is the, some sort of conventional thinking. In this point, people think that no, patient will ask many things. We cannot provide all that. Then get lost. And you will not have this clinic after 5-6 years. No business if it says let the customer is a fool. Sometimes customers are full, but still we are seeing, can we take that challenge and get ready in the future? In automotive industries, you will be surprised. Mr. Anand Padmanabhan knows. In automotive industry, the demand of customer like Hyundai, Ford, Toyota, any car manufacturer, the demand on their suppliers, you will be astonished. That much is the demand. It is sometimes not realistic. They may say, I want 10,000 pieces, and the next day they will say, they will ask, I want 20,000 pieces. The supplier has to supply. They will say, I want 10,000, supplier will buy all the material, they will take only 5,000, and they will say, no, further I don't want. That also you need to bear. So those are all very high sensitive areas in automotive. So here, how improving patient flow could meet the needs. So if some staff are waiting for patient, so you need to do some thorough study. Here only you need to employ some specialist for guidance as a consultant, do one time study or one process study. Sometime person A is idle, sometime person B is idle. So how we can balance this? This is one approach. And the other one is lower prices for eye care. Everyone wants to pay less and get a higher quality, normal expectation. And here the hospital wants reduced waste. So probably I will share this slide, you can read it later. But the patient wants less waiting time. He enters the hospital, he only has to be attended on priority, like how the chief minister is allowed, the traffic is cleared for him to go. This is another problem. That's why the chief minister doesn't know the traffic problem of Chennai and other metro cities. Here, low prices and good quality care and lower travel cost coming from his place to this hospital and staying less time away from home. These are all again falling on faster delivery of his. And respect and care. This is what he wants. Now, when you design your hospital, when you design your inside infrastructure, so you have to see that are you meeting this point, less waiting time? Are you meeting this point? Are you meeting this point? This is how you need to see. Now, what can be the assignment you can do from tomorrow? What can we do now? Okay, sir, fine. I understood all you are talking is real. And so what should I do? Now, work on your practice, not just in. Most of you are, doctors and specialists, and you get inside your business profession of seeing the eyes again. All the time you see patients' eyes, and then end of the day you go home. But maybe a day you take off and see from outside what is happening outside your hospital, what is happening to the patient, what happens between one department to another department within your hospital. And take the patient's perspective, not the owner perspective. Take process-wise time study for a week. Okay, a patient is entering, how much time they are spending, when they have entered to which section, and when they have finished the work, something like that. Then identify the 8 waste which are called downtime, and start with some low-hanging fruit. You don't need to wait for the perfect day to solve all the problems in one go. Probably you can start making simple improvements. And these are all the application of tools on value stream mapping. Now, in short, the value stream mapping is mapping the process from the customer entering to he leaving the hospital, identifying where are all the waiting times or even the 8 waste, and then trying to eliminate, cut down those waste so that the customer turnaround time, that is the customer spending time inside your hospital, should come down. Come down to the extent of only treatment time, only he should spend. So that's about value stream mapping. And next tool is spaghetti diagram. This here you can see, this is what I was explaining. Even this is there in some good hospitals, in eye care hospitals. Somewhere there is a first process here, and then the patient will come here. From there, he will go to this room. From there, he will go to this room. Again, coming to this corner for confirmation or getting a seal. And again, going to this person for giving the file. From there, he will go to this section for doing another test. And these are all given in simple one floor case. But assuming that your hospital has got multiple floors and the patient has to go in the lift from one floor to another floor, then you will have a lot of traffic on the lift, and waiting for the lift itself is a big waiting time in some hospitals. They kept a lift to make the travel easier, but waiting for lift, that is a big loss in most of the bigger hospitals. Now, if you can streamline certain things as far as possible, you cannot set everything straight. Suppose customer is entering, there's a registration counter, there's a preliminary checking, and then refraction, and there is a dilation, and there is a consulting 1, 2, some parallel thing, and then billing and discharging and exit. So this, you can see this, how much is cramped, how much zigzags. Here it's all very straight and lean. So this is the lean process, reorganizing your processes to the working flow of the client. Suppose from ground floor, somebody has gone to first floor, try to keep remaining process there. Or if he has come down to ground floor, finish the ground floor. Again, coming to ground and going to second. It may look very odd when I tell, but if you go and see in your hospital, it happens. So here we can make some metrics like distance walked. Here, inside the hospital only, but they walked about a kilometer. And so distance walked so many meters. Before they were walking 20 meters. In the future, because we are going to make some improvements, they will walk only 5 meters. At least they have to walk, but at least instead of 20, it is 5. So 75% reduction on the first phase. After some improvements, after bringing some mechanization, something, they don't need to walk even this 5 meter. Probably they may walk only 1 meter, and there is a 95% reduction. This is the future plan. But now immediately certain things can be implemented. One is the distance walked has to be reduced inside the hospital for everybody. For everybody, patient as well as your operating staffs. And number of touch points, handoffs, people handling the patient, as far as possible, it should be reduced. For small things, you should not send it to somebody. Okay, just go and get the file from that place. And after getting the file, you come and sit here. Then you go there and buy that consumable. Then you come and sit here. So the moment you add another agency, another process, unknowingly, there will be some waiting, some queuing, some disturbance. So it's better that keep as much things as a package. As soon as they enter, certain things can be packaged together. And then space occupied. Many of you may be saying that I have less space. Beyond that, I have to build another thing only. I have to hire another place. But you can see what is the utilization of your space. Sometimes we calculate the revenue generated per square meter of the space used. So this is also another metric. So how can you generate more revenue within lesser space? And total lead time, how it was. Before average, it was 2 hours. Now, by some improvements, we are reducing 50%. By making some more improvements, it can come to 75%. So this is how you can plan your work in a phased manner, stage by stage. You don't need to directly come down to 75% improvement. So make even 5% improvement, 10% improvement, 20% improvement. It is directly making customer happy and making your profit more. So why do you wait? And next tool is 5 yes. These are all 5 words which are starting with yes. First, remove unwanted. I have seen many doctors' table itself, on the table, a lot of unwanted things. Even they did not know that catalog is from whom when it came. And some marriage, invitations of 6 months old. So remove, so that the clutter makes you tired and irritated and makes you to search all that. So in entire hospital, make a campaign and take out what is not used. This is the first step. And set in order. It starts with yes. Arrange items to promote efficient workflow. How you want to keep things. So it is very easy. It should be easy to pick. Everything should have a place for everything in its place. You are all, Aptal doctors. Your room is, your consulting place is mostly well organized. I can take an example of a dentist. We call it as a dentist chair. The moment you go to a dentist, you sit on the table, chair, it's a dentist chair. And the doctor sits beside you till the whole process is over, no movement. Okay, everything is there. You have to be little tilted, it is there. You want some water to goggle, it is there. You want some tissue paper to clean up, it is there. You want a puller of your teeth, it is there. You want a cleaning jet of your teeth, it is there. You want a light, it is there. So the dentist chair is the best example of keeping things in the right place, and less movement the patient is getting treated. The third one is shining. Shining is keeping it clean. Most of the hospitals, they put people to clean, mopping, and doing so much of clean. The clean alone is not 5S. That is just a clean of dust. But prior 2 steps are very important in the 5S. Then standardizing certain practices. Every time when the new staff changes, they bring some new rules. No. First you check that, sir, then you come. Like that, they should not be changing the rules. And there must be some continual effort to sustain things. So this is called the 5S tool. Next comes the single minute exchange of dice. The changeover between one patient to another patient. Suppose one doctor using one table for the patient check. Now the patient is undergoing checking, and after this patient leaves, obviously the actually value adding process time is when doctor sees from through his eye. When he is seeing the patient eye, this is where the value addition actually taking place. But after the doctor sees, he moves out, and then the patient has to vacate this place, which takes few seconds or some minutes, and the next patient has to come and sit in this place. So this is where Arvind and many other hospitals, they use 180-degree turning chairs. This is a changeover between one patient to another patient. If it is taking 3 minutes, that 3 minutes is precious time of the doctor. He has taken 30 seconds or even 1 minute to check the patient, but 3 minutes waiting for the next patient to get settled. So the doctor's time of 2 minutes is getting wasted. By this, his revenue loss is 80% loss. 2/3 of the time he is losing the revenue. And for the patient, there is a waiting time. So here, one doctor doing 2 tables. This just from the screening point, from it has improved to surgery levels. One doctor is treating as doing surgery for 2 patients, finishing one patient and moving to another patient. So in that case, if one surgeon, the operations per surgeon, if you calculate the current state and future state, surgeon is going to be there by implementing this kind of practices, reducing changeovers. So the surgeon is 1, the future also is going to be 1. So we'll keep this constant. Earlier, there were only 1 table for the patient. Now we have provided 2 tables here. So by this, now there is going to be an increase of volume of 100%. And the scrubbing nurse here is 1. Probably you may have to add 2. Instrument sets instead of 1, probably you may have to add more. But here the investments are on the instrument set, which is peanut, and the nurse and some tables. Just by adding one more of this, one more of this, one more of this, the surgery is, earlier you are doing 1 surgery, means now you can handle 6 surgeries in the same time. So this is the beauty of this. So the changeover is the biggest changeover time. Changeover from one patient to another patient in the checking table. So this is one of the area where we need to make improvements. So I just wanted to play one video for you. Sir Senthil, let me know whether it is visible.
Yes, you can share your screen and then start the video. Actually, you have made the presentation quite interesting, because it was almost like hearing a regular ophthalmology lecture, because you have adapted those concepts very well into the ophthalmology field, right from a lot of terminologies. Yes, sir.
You are able to see my video?
Yes, sir, we can see, but audio, and it's playing in
audio, not a problem. Video is visible?
Yes, sir, but you have to start from the beginning, sir. It's gone in the middle. I think yes, sir. Audio, if you increase the volume, you can.
No. Are you able to see my video?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a video movie. Are you able to see?
Yes, sir. We are able to see. We are able to see.
Okay then. Now, all the participants here, this case is on, it's called a pit stop. All of you know that the racing cars has to undergo the change of tires and even fuel filling, because certain rounds the tank gets empty. So after some time they have to be changing certain spares, fill the fuel, and then change all the 4 tires. Now this is one benchmark video. You can see it in Google also. Just type pit stop, you will get this video. Now all of us, we know in our car, if there is a puncture of one tire, to replace the tire for us it takes maybe half an hour, but even professionals may do it in 15 minutes. Here 4 tires are changed, and like in the petrol pump you are filling the fuel, here also fuel is filled and the driver is refreshed, and then certain spares like exhaust and other things are replaced. But you can see on top of this video the time display. So let us see how much time it takes to change 4 tires and fill fuel and change exhaust and check some spares and refresh the driver. Let us see. Can trace this car, it's coming down. Four tires are changed, fuel filled in 1.91 seconds. Wow. This is not minutes, sir. On top, it is a second. Now it is 0. Are you all back in my presentation screen?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Now the video what we have seen is actually looks like a fake video, because 1 second, 1 second is how much time? This is 1 second. Okay. Now such a racing car running in 300-400 kilometers per hour speed, and it's coming for tire change, and 4 tires are getting changed and fuel is getting filled, and all that is done in 1.91 second only. It is not even the second sound. If it is 2 sounds, it is 2 seconds. Now it is 1.91 second, 4 tires are changed. Then you can now set your benchmark. Patient change, one patient to another change. You want 1.91 hours or 1.91 minutes or 1.91 seconds. Why not 4 tires? All of you saw the process. Somebody is removing the tire, somebody is removing the nut, because it is already fitted with the nut. There is a nut runner, he is placing the nut runner and removing it, unlocking it, and taking the nut out, taking the tire out, and putting the new tire, and again tightening. This looks like a big story, the sequence of events, but the whole time is 1.91 seconds, sir. How this can happen? Just to press one button, we need 1 second, right? So how somebody can take a tire out of the car and then fix another tire and tighten it and release it in 1.9 seconds? And the beauty is, these people are telling there is a lot of scope for reducing this. This is their statement. I'm hearing from, ophthalmologists and then the hospital owners. No, 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 there is no other scope. We have done the best. I have seen in one hospital, the doctor is, shuttling between two rooms. He has two rooms. Patient A is getting set in one room. The doctor goes there and then he comes to the next room by the time the other patient gets ready. I was telling doctor, you are walking more. You just spend 1 minute for checking and 2 minutes for walking. Each patient you walk 2 times, room A to room B. I saw another doctor doing it in a very simple way. So he was just turning his chair 180 degree. So he attends one patient facing south, and then once that is in the north side, the another patient is getting ready. The nurses are doing that job, and the moment he finishes south side patient, he just turns his chair 180 degree and straight away looks at the eyes of the second patient. And the second patient is over by the time the south patient is getting ready, the next patient, patient number 3. And he turns the chair again 180 degree and he finishes. I asked him, you are very smart. So what's your name? All that I inquired. He said, I am from Arvind Hospital, ex-Arvind Hospital. And he does it in a very small town. So every one of you can simplify your waiting time as much as possible because it increases the productivity of the doctor. We are looking at the productivity of the housekeeper, but the problem is the doctor's productivity will bring revenue into multiple times, 10 times, 20 times, and you can treat more patients, more revenue. So how a doctor time, we have to do value stream mapping for doctor time. How much time he was actually seeing the patient, how much time he was only waiting for patient or releasing the patient from the room. People bring something, sir, some confidentiality, some sensitivity of the customers. Put some black screen in between. Now for corona, everyone has put some screen. So put some screen, whichever you want color, whichever thickness you want, and automatically screen will go up in 1 second. You will turn your chair and see why the doctor walks between the rooms. Is one of the best hospital in this country where I saw. So this is one simple tool, but makes a big improvement in the doctor's productivity. Now the next tool is identifying the bottleneck of the process and balancing the work according to that. Now I will show you the current process. There are 4 processes. There is a registration process. This is in terms of minutes. The graph shows minutes. So the registration, these are all what you say assumed numbers, not exact numbers, just to explain to you. So this takes say 6 minutes, the registration process on an average. And your prelims check is taking 16 minutes. And refraction takes 5 minutes. And then the counseling takes say 8 minutes. Okay. This is how we have done the time study of each process. For this, you need to collect at least 1 week, 1 month data, and then arrive at these figures and draw this graph. And by this, you see there is an imbalance of processes. The moment you see the bars are not at same height, that's a clear indication of there is a waste in the system. So it is also saying that your turnover can increase double. Okay. Now in this, which process you need to add a resource, which one you should solve first. Now here it takes 6 minutes. You invest on new computer and make it 4 minutes. It is not going to help you because this is the bottleneck process. Why we call it as bottleneck? In the bottle, whatever the bigger size, bigger diameter of the bottle, the neck controls the flow of the outflow of the water. So that's why it's called bottle neck. Bottle may be bigger, but neck is smaller. So whatever the diameter, size of the neck, only that much water can flow, not all the waters. So same way here, every patient has to undergo this process, first process, second process, third process, fourth process. Now this process takes each patient 16 minutes. That means roughly in an hour, 3 into 16, 48. So we can see only 3 patients in this process. Now there is no point in improving these processes now. We need to identify, this is called bottleneck because here more people can get treated. Here 10 people can treated in 1 hour. Here 12 people can be attended in 1 hour. Here also almost 7 people can be attended in 1 hour, but here only 3 people can be attended. So the focus area, bottleneck of the bottle is this. Identifying this itself is a half job done. Then after identifying what we can do, probably if whether this 60 minutes is required or it can be reduced, that can be your first. First is ECRS. You can see whether you can eliminate this process. Okay, hypothetically. Okay, so no, sir, it's a foolish question. You cannot eliminate this process. Okay, can you combine some part of this process along with the previous process itself or on the next process, because this is underloaded. So can you combine this? No, sir, we cannot combine. Can you rearrange this? Suppose instead of this as a second process, if you put it as a third process, will there be any benefit? No, sir, there won't be any benefit. It will be here only. Okay, can you simplify this process by making some automation or some computerization or some sensor or something? No, sir, nothing can be done. Okay, get lost. At least you put one more person, do this job in 2 parallel tables. Okay, you are adding resource, but still it is worth. By adding one workstation with one technician, your whole flow of the patient's flow will increase. Every 8 minutes, you can release one patient out. That means you are per hour, you can now address maybe 7 patients. Earlier, it was only 3 patients. So identifying the bottleneck and debottlenecking, making the bottleneck to flow is actually helping the business to grow from 3 patients per hour to now so maybe 7 patients per hour. The productivity, turnover, everything is almost doubled. So we have something called takt time. Takt time means, okay, how much we should keep. Now we have to see takt time is the available time by customer inflow. We call it as a demand of speed of demand. In what rate customers are coming to your clinic. So how many customers are coming? Now by making them faster, your customers flow will increase. So we need to balance our work according to the customer flows. So identification of bottleneck is one skill, and applying elimination, combining, rearranging, simplifying. If nothing works or only less benefit, okay, sir, I have done something. Now 16 has become 14, but beyond that, I could not do anything. Then you go for this solution. So now your productivity from 4 patients per hour, this is not 4 actually, it's a bit wrong, 3.5. So from 3.5, here it is 7.5, more than double. So this is one tool, simple but powerful tool to increase your productivity minimum double. And there is another tool called the AND-ON. AND-ON means light, communication through light. And this also we call it as visual management. Okay, somewhere the manual calls, okay, the staff sees the file, pick up something and goes and announces in the waiting area, Doraiswamy, Doraiswamy, Doraiswamy. Okay. So suddenly I wake up. Oh, yesterday in the court they called 3 times Doraiswamy, Doraiswamy, Doraiswamy. Here also they said Doraiswamy, Doraiswamy, Doraiswamy. So one is I feel embarrassed. My name is very nice, so I feel proud. My name is suppose Kajuma Gujalo. Then I feel embarrassed, in front of everyone. My uncomfortable name is being spelled wrongly. So all that are I'm just on the lighter side. I'm sharing, but you must be going into some sort of counters, displays, next token numbers. It is there in railway station. It is there in small banks. It is there in barber shops. Okay, so why not we have? So somebody will say, sir, this is optimal practice. People would have put some drops so they cannot see the number visibly. Probably you can back up with the audio. That is not a problem. So certain things has to be made visible to avoid this excess manpower, excess irritation in the system. The next one we call in Japanese heijunka. Heijunka is leveling of production, evening out. So the fluctuations, high, low fluctuations, slightly we are trying to smoothen it out. So this one example we tried in some place, the patient inflow, like your hospital starts at 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock closes, and 8 to 9, how many patients are coming? and 9 to 10 how many, 10 to 11 how many, 12 to 11 to 12 how many, 12 to 1 how many. Normally the pattern is the current, the blue line. Blue line will be morning 8 o'clock, no one will be there. Probably by 9 will be the peak. There will be, I'm just, this is a case study example. There are only 5 patients in the first hour of opening. And the next hour picked up the full 45 patients, next hour 40, 30, 20. And during lunchtime, most of these crowds, the new people, these are all about new people. So these 2 hours, there were no entry, and almost up to 5 o'clock, no one newly came. And some people, I think office going people, they came at the evening 6 to 7. This was about 5-10 things. So can we even this out? So the red lines are little evened out, little smoothening. It's not in our hand, but still we can do something like online registration. And then if suppose you make them to register, or if they make them to get an appointment, then you can smoothen this. You can give only 20 appointment. You can give the next appointment on the less crowded hours. This is one. Appointment based on expected waiting time, special discounts for non-traffic hours. So somebody say, if you come in the non-peak hour, non-traffic hour, 10% of the fees is less, because it is inconvenient for them also, but they are ready to face that inconvenience for a better benefit of cost. So this is called a leveling. This may be easy in the graph, slightly difficult in the real applications, but it's not impossible. The benefits, it may not be as simple as what I have shown, 20, 20, 20, 20 every hour coming. It may not be like that, but still you can see for leveling due to, because the person who came in the 45, they have to wait for long. So next time they will think that this hospital is a waiting hospital. So better I will look for something else where these are all peak hours. They have to go to office after this. So they would have taken only half a day leave or 2 hours permission from their work, or they may have a scheduled meeting sometime. So this is how the lean thinks about what will be the meeting schedule of my patient. Most of the time we see our meetings. I have patient 8 to 9 consulting, 9 to 10 my meeting, 10 to 11 I have another Rotary Club meeting. So all that our meeting is scheduled, but what about patients meeting on their works? This is a perception change. So this is leveling of production. The another tool is called Kaizen. Kai is continual, Zen is improvement. Continual improvement, small, simple improvement on a continual basis. In one area, we did a study on utilization of, the power cost reduction. Energy saving was the task. So we classified the time durations: high traffic time, medium traffic time, low traffic time. Like in this graph, you can see high traffic in the 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12 are all high traffic. And again at 6 to 7, there is reasonably a high traffic. And 1 to 2, almost no traffic. And 8 to 9, less traffic. So based on the inflow of the patient, we classified high, medium, and low traffic levels on this side. And inside the hospital, we classified critical area, semi-critical area, non-critical area. Like this, we classified the areas. The critical area, we have AC and lighting. Everywhere we have AC and lighting. Here, if you can see the dark green, most of the AC and lighting is on in this area. It has to be on, because on high traffic time and the critical area, like consulting area or inspection area, so the AC has to run and the lighting has to be full. Whatever the lux levels we need, it has to be full. A semi-critical area, it's only some reception area or some areas where the lighting is not required so many luxes or so much. So here, even in high traffic area, this can be lighter. This is partially on. And the least possible and AC lighting is on. These are all the areas like very low traffic and non-critical area. That area keeping high voltage or high bright lamps or fans are all waste. So classifying your hospital into the area wise, and then identifying the traffics, and deciding your utilization of the AC and lighting according to the combination of this. Like this is one guidance. Probably some in your case study, 1 or 2 blocks may vary between here and there, but the corners will not vary. Low traffic, low importance has to be less lighting, and high traffic, high critical has to be higher. So this corner to corner will be same. Inside this light green, dark green between your study, your hospital and my picture, there may be a small change, but this has saved power consumption almost 30% of their bill. If they were paying a lakh of rupee power cost, this has saved them say about 30,000 rupees per month. This is one continual improvement they have implemented. Some places we have implemented on the consumables, grouping of patients per surgery. Like every time you plan 1 or 2 surgeries every day, that is not productive to run the operation theater and other consumables. So you can schedule according to your load. Then you have approved, you don't need to keep everything in stock. You will approve your vendors, certify them and ask them to keep some minimum stock, and whenever they want within an hour they should be able to supply to you. This is called a vendor managed inventory. No, these are all faster delivery. Vendor managed inventory is like vendor will supply, it will be in your stock, but you will pay to vendor when you are actually selling this product, when you are actually using this product for patients. If you are not using, customer vendor will not get paid. So these are all the punishing methods in automobiles. They will ask the supplier to supply and they won't use it for 1 month due to their internal issues or some other problem, errors, and the vendor will not get paid. It may be there, but it's all on the vendor's cost. But as you keep the whole system, initially it may look like you are passing on your bucks to your supplier. But at the supplier end also, your lean practices, whatever I explained, if you extend to his place and if you synchronize him with your consumption, and if you can display your stock in his terminal, then he will be able to judge, okay, how much is I supplied, how much is sold, how much balance. So he will take responsibility to fill. You can remove your purchase manager from your company because he is not actually purchasing, he's only talking on phone. So this is another benefit. And group buying, volume discount, instead of your different units buying from different source, you can consolidate. If you have multi clinics in multi locations, you can consolidate and do. By asking for a bigger volume, by giving bigger volume to supplier, you can get a bigger discount. And in opticals, you can do bulk quantity ordering for frames and all. You are all specialized on this. And paperless patient records. This, I think, it has become a norm of the day now. Electronic medical records, EMR. If you are not having EMR system, you can implement this. This avoids many errors and makes the retrieval easier and records faster. Most of you know this. So this area also you can use Kaizens. Now I have explained to you about more than 10 tools where it's all used. But in your balance sheet, in your profitability statement, normally the P&L we call profit and loss statement. This is what auditor makes first. So the top lines, the top line of P&L are about revenues. So you may have revenue stream 1, probably the consulting side, revenue stream 2, maybe surgery side or optical side. So the net revenue, if it is 100%, normally the cost of goods sold, like your consumables and other things, are all about 26%. Then the gross profit we call is 74%. Now, how do we increase this profit? There are tools here, Kanban, VMI, Heijunka, whatever the tools I explained to you, VSM, throughput, turnaround time reduction, energy saving. But the purpose of this slide is not for these numbers. Ignore these numbers. The purpose of the slide is to correlate these tools, whatever I explained, in which area, which heading, because you have to convince your finance manager, your CFO to implement lean. They will ask, by implementing lean, by making all this, what benefit I got? Where will I see your work? You are telling, sir, I have implemented SMED. He will ask, in this statement, you tell me where it is coming. Don't tell me also. You will show some photographs, some feedback, all that. But CFO will be very curious. The guy who invested the money will be curious. Forget me. You tell me all these, whatever Doraisamy lecture. in which line it is reflecting. Earlier it was 16%. Now we are used spaghetti diagram and SMED. Now has it come down to 14%? This is what the financial people understand. They don't understand Kanban, Ijunka, spaghetti, Sairi, Saitan, Saiso, Poka, Yoka, Kaisa, Anda. Nothing they will understand. They will only understand what is this number before all your lean and now lean. So that's where I'm trying to correlate. The purpose of that is only correlating benefit of these tools in the respective areas. Now, having understood all this, now you all know that it's all real. Practically, you have seen pictures. Practically, you understood that what Doraisamy says, it's happening in my clinic. If not fully, at least partially. So where do we go? Like, you cannot just start implementing something. You need some guidance. Now, the James Womack, actually, all these lean concepts are originated from Toyota Production System, TPS. The Toyota Production System was, conceived, tried, practiced, proved by Mr. Taichi Ono. He was an employee in Toyota company. So he was finding all the 8 waste. He used to stand in the shop floor. He was actually general manager, but he was not sitting in cabin. So he was actually standing in the reception counter and observing what is happening. And then he observed that 8 waste. He observed there is a defect happening, errors happening. He observed there is some over processing happening. He observed some waiting happening. So immediately he made some kaizens. Kaizen means small improvements. Okay, now patient is waiting. Why patient is waiting? Okay, now you do like this. Okay, you put one light. Okay, now you change the chair this way. Okay, you move the reception table to the front of the building. Something he kept on moving and making small improvements. That has made Toyota from somewhere world rank 100 to now world rank 1. So if a company can come to top rank in the world, automobile, the largest automobile manufacturer is Toyota, and the consistently profit-making company is Toyota. The most quality products producing company is Toyota. The faster design and faster new product development introducing company is Toyota. So if everything is Toyota, and so what is so great inside the Toyota? Taichi Ono practiced something on trial basis, and then he made improvement. All that is documented as TPS, and that was studied as a research study by Dr. James Womack and Daniel Jones from MIT. They went and studied all the Japanese plants, and then they identified, oh, they are using value stream mapping. Oh, they are using 5S. Oh, they are doing this, like that. They have brought out everything to the world. So when they brought it out, if you say Toyota Production System, even for lean process, Dr. Senthil is convincing other people, no, sir, it will be useful to you. Suppose we keep a session today on Toyota Production System, nobody will attend because Toyota is automobile. So they were looking for some common name, which was lean manufacturing. They coined it as lean manufacturing. Then that became lean management. That has become lean practices. So the James Womack and Daniel Jones were co-authors and co-research heads. And they have given this idea after their experience. So first they say, find a change agent. If you want to implement lean practice in your hospital, the topmost person of the hospital, the owner, the chairman, the chief doctor, has to be first convinced about lean. And he should start thinking about lean. Then only the lean changes can be implemented, because lean ideas are common sense. Lean implementation needs some big drive. Some new technician joined in your hospital cannot make the entire hospital lean. She or he can make their work some report lean, but not the hospital lean. So to make the hospital lean, we need the topmost person to be the owner, driver, in charge, champion of this initiative. So the topmost person will need some guidance from outside. So we call sensei. Sensei in Japanese, in English, it's guide or consultant. Of course, Mr. Anant is a great consultant. I pick up some good things from him. I visited his hospital, MGM. fantastic improvements he did. My visit was 2.5-3 years back, I think. And these 2.5 years, he would have made bigger, improvements there. So such an advisor or a consultant, because we have all that experience, so you don't need to waste your time in learning. So we will give the learning for you. So that's the second step. Seize or create a crisis to motivate action across your firm, to motivate your people, to convince your people, because they will ask why suddenly lean. Yesterday, Sendil sir arranged one conference. On that, one speaker, he brought some speaker. That fellow talked about lean. So my doctor is talking about lean. So that cannot create a big change in the organization. It will fade away after some time. So there must be some crisis. If you are not implementing lean, you cannot do NABH certification will not come. If you are not implementing lean, somebody has disqualified. I'm just making an example. Please don't mistake me. Okay, some insurance agency, Manipal, Cigna, or HDFC Life, or anybody, Star, Moon, Mars, some insurance guy has disqualified our hospital because of certain wrong practices or error practices. NABH is not giving accreditation to our hospital. So all that you make certain real events as show it as a big event to convince people. Then map the entire value stream for all your products and pick something important and get started. Many hospitals, many companies, they keep on making value stream mapping. 25 maps they have made, but still not even 25 minutes reduced, because all the maps were only after attending seminars. Now don't leave it at that. Pick something important and get implemented. So if you have any doubts, we are there to help you. Now Google is there, YouTube is there. You still need a Doraisamy, I am there to help you. And this is what is my presentation for the given time. Now the stage is open for people for any question answers. Dr. Sendil, over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Actually, from your presentation, we could understand that you have put in a lot of research and work into the eye hospital scenario, because I was constantly observing a lot of terms, like right from slit lamp to operation theater to Venkadasamy, and all these things are familiar only to ophthalmologists. So thank you for putting in all the efforts, and right from the beginning, you have talked in a very simple way. Basically, one concern we always have when we get the experts is whether they'll be able to communicate it at our level, because sometimes our understanding of the management concepts is always a little lesser than other people. So thank you for making it very simple. And I think you've done an excellent presentation, and almost 1.5 hours went very fast. And so maybe I would call upon Mr. Anantha Padmanabhan, sir. I don't know if sir is still available for his comments, and then we can take 1 or 2 questions and close the session. Sir.
There's one chat feedback from Mr. Jaswant Arneja. It's an excellent practical presentation. Thanks, Mr. Jaswant.
Thank you, Jaswant. Anantha Padmanabhan, sir, are you available? So you can give your comments, and then if there are any questions, I request you to unmute and ask your questions.
I seek more questions because we can evolve this in a better way, and
yes,
I can still make this more useful to your community fraternity.
Yes, sir.
Anand, sir.
I think, sir.
Anand, sir.
Maybe it's not available.
Okay, anyone else? People can come in chat or you can ask questions.
So one common question which generally people have is because you started your presentation at that point, because lean principles are not for industries and lean methodologies are not for larger hospitals.
Correct.
1 minute, sir. Right? He's saying mic is muted. Just 1 minute. So, sir, you can unmute now, sir.
Hello, are you able to hear me, Sendil?
Yes, yes, sir.
I'm hearing, sir. I'm excited to hear your voice after a long time, sir.
No, truly, I am very excited. And, once I saw your name, Doraisami's name, Sendil name, and lean management, I could not resist joining it immediately, this session.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank you, sir.
your delivery was perfect. Your understanding of the subject and communication was superb. And people like us felt that we were really listening to somebody from Japan talking about ophthalmology practice. Okay, that was the kind of understanding we had. There are a few points I thought I will also highlight here.
Please.
As far as the hospitals are concerned, now the hospitals are now using IT in a very high level. So as you are talking about electronic medical records, of course, not many hospitals are using electronic medical records, but there is a new technology called low-code, no-code software. I do not know how many of you know that. Once you start using that low-code, no-code software application, Sendil can become an IT programmer. Doraisamy can become a IT programmer, or maybe I can become an IT programmer and design my own IT application. And using this, what we can really do is not only make our hospital paperless, but we can also make it without any Excel sheets, without any emails. You can just automate all your operations. And like you said, you can simply eliminate all non-value added and unnecessary operations. And we have been able to make our operations very lean. So that is the trend in the hospitals now. And you see some of the hospitals in Mayo Clinic and maybe in Mass General and all that, they are using this automation very well. And there is what is known as hyper automation. I don't know if you know what is hyper automation. Hyper automation is the process of putting technologies like RPA, then real-time location tracking, low-code, no-code platform, and IoT into this, and so that you eliminate many operations. What will take say 10 minutes, a particular activity will just take less than 1 minute using this hyper automation.
Wow.
So that is the power of hyper automation. And maybe people like us are trying to promote that culture of hyper automation in hospitals. And if one day, if Sendil permits me, maybe I will take time to come and talk about that and how we practice on the ground. So that is what I wanted to tell you. But Doraisamy, yours was a fantastic presentation, and I really liked it, and it was very useful. I am sure, like me, many people who have been hearing this presentation would have benefited by that. And many things you clarified, as Dr. Sendil said. I think there was not one small break. It was a flawless presentation. Your English was simple, very good, easily understandable. And you, from the concept to implementation, you did really a tremendous job. Hats off to you. Please continue to do that. And I'm sure many hospitals will get benefited by it. Thank you, Sami, and thank you, Dr. Sendil.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm delighted for you listening to me for hours or two. So I'm really delighted. Thank you so much, sir. And I have taken all your points for my future projects. I will work on that, sir.
Sure.
We will have one of your sessions in the master classes, sir. Maybe in October. We still have continuing till October end, so we'll have one of your sessions in October. I'll call you and discuss, sir.
Happy to do that, sir.
If there are any questions from the audience, Smitesh has a question like, how can you reduce phone call traffic to the hospital? Online appointment system is still not popular with the patients. So what are the options? Like, I think phone call, because still 95% of the patients take appointments by calling to the hospital. And is there a way to reduce it? And online appointment system is still not caught up. So how do you, is there any suggestion from, I think Mr. Anantha Padmanabhan sir can also answer.
Anant sir can answer.
Instead of just getting into a website or getting into any application, I think nowadays through WhatsApp, you can book an application. If people can use WhatsApp for internal communication among their friends and relatives and all that, we can also use WhatsApp and fix up an appointment. And now that kind of booking the appointments using WhatsApp, using bots has come into practice, and we should really try that. It does not cost much.
Yeah, and another question is, can Aadhaar be used in some way for quick registration?
In fact, Aadhaar, the only we have been trying to use Aadhaar because Aadhaar gives you the entire KYC. So you can know the patient name, you can know the address, you can know the gender, everything comes out. But for some reason, I think government is not so easily permitting the use of Aadhaar in the hospitals because of some privacy and security reasons in this country. But countries like Malaysia are using it. Malaysia, they have their own unique ID system for the general population, and I have used it in Malaysia in some of the hospitals. But unfortunately, I have not been able to use Aadhaar in my inpatient or outpatient registration.
So continuing to the discussion on Kaizen, I would like to recommend the small book. It's called One Small Step Can Change Your Life. It's a small 120-page book, which has an immense value. Maybe if possible, I request all the audience to also note down. In fact, in our first Haftal conference in 2018, we gave this book to all the participants. So this is something interesting to get started on. I think it's about continuous improvement. Like, how can we actually have this improvement? Even whoever is attending this course, I think every week we are listening to something and improving ourselves. So every day, how can we do one small steps which can increase our productivity and the lifestyle and everything. So if you have the opportunity, I request all of you to buy this book. Cost, I think, 100 rupees.
Can you put the name of the book in the chat, Doctor?
Yes, I have also, I will put it, sir. I'll put it in the chat also. And if there are no other questions, maybe we can all close down the session today. Before I close down, next week we have a very interesting session on advanced social media marketing, because there is a lot of support for the session on ethical marketing by Mohammed Ilyas. And so we wanted to bring him again to talk more about the social media marketing aspect in healthcare. And Ilyas is introduced, already known to many of us. He is the founder director of BCC Branding and Marketing organization. He is a specialist in healthcare. And one more thing is, basically, we are also launching the BCC Aftal marketing program for eye hospital, because we understand that there is a lot of difficulty in implementing marketing activities for smaller eye hospitals, right from designing a website to in-clinic branding and marketing activities out of the clinic, camps and everything. So we'll be launching a special program where Aftal has partnered with BCC for the marketing. So I would request all of you to attend next week. And thank you everybody for being with us. And I will send the book name to you, sir. And have a nice weekend. And let's meet next week. And Mr. Leen Doraisami's contact details he has shared. I will also share those details in the group, WhatsApp group, and you can connect them. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful presentation. Initially, we were also, because of the sir was in his native place, so we had concerns about the connectivity and everything, but everything went flawlessly. I think whenever we have these doubts, things work out very well. So thank you, sir. And as Ananta Padmanabhan sir said, it was very flawless, and it was like as if like listening to somebody, some close friend. So we had that connectivity. It was not like some business person talking. And so you made it very simple. And I hope all the participants also enjoyed the session. And thank you very much, sir. And let's connect again, and have a nice weekend, and see you next week. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now the video works. Okay. Sir, I should thank you personally for continuously giving me this opportunity.
Yes, sir. So we should be thanking you, sir, for sharing knowledge and all the research you have done in the eye hospital sector, because I think that is very important.
Thank you, sir.
I'm just typing the name of the book.
Okay. Hari is there?
Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot, Hari.
Thank you, sir. We have to thank you for your support, sir.
Like, it was looking very difficult in the beginning, but you made everything easy. All the obstacles of password, code, signal, video running, like what Dr. Sandil said, all difficult things had happened easily. Thanks a lot for your effort and your patience. ஒன்னும் கவலைப்படாதீங்க சார், எல்லாம் நல்லா இருக்கு, எல்லாம் பண்ணிடலாம், கவலைப்படாதீங்க.
இல்ல sir,
அது that kept my pressure low.
Actually, now we have become experts, sir, because
Okay.
So initially we were also anxious about the things. Now we have learned. I think that is also that continuous improvement which you are talking about. As you start doing it, and then it becomes like, it's just like the orchestra performer. So initially he's a little anxious, and as time goes on, he is controlling all those 100 musicians. So something I think we have. Maybe next Hari sir has actually become very developed now. So in fact, I don't. It will not require me also for the future years.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Sir, can I exit or how we close?
Yes, sir. We will close it, sir. We will
Thank
meet.
you.
We'll meet, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Hari. Thank you.